No more need for rumors, no more need for speculation, because there is a brand new Pirates of the Caribbean film in production, a reboot in fact. So you know what that means. Johnny Depp ain't going to be a part of it. You would think, taking a look at the catastrophe of 2023 and years prior, Disney would be tired of losing money. They would be tired of having their legacy IPs completely and totally desecrated, but apparently not. Apparently not. Oh boy, this one hurts because I love the original Pirates of the Caribbean. It's one of my, I would say, at least top 10. If I was to really sit down and think about it, it might be a top 5 movie for me. The first one's fantastic. I like half of the second, and the third, that was one of those films, right? Like when you're of a certain age, just bear with me for a moment. When you're of a certain age, and I think that one came out when I was about 15 or 16 or something like that, it's still at a point, right, before you understand like what is a really bad movie, like what's a bad movie, and you can critically analyze something. It's like, yeah, I don't really like that. But that was the first one, At World's End, you know, the conclusion of the trilogy. Some people like it. The big ship battle at the end is fine, but at the end of the film, when credits rolled, and then you also had the post-credit sequence, which I didn't even bother to stick around for the first time, because when I left that, I was like, I felt empty. I felt empty, and everybody else that was around me went to a midnight screening. That was a thing. You guys remember those? Anyways, I'm gonna get off the porch here for a second, stop being the old man, but that was one of those films where I was, you know, putting on the mask saying, no, it's fine. I like pirates. Upon revisiting, it's trash. It's not as bad as the fourth one. Like, the fourth one is absolute dog water. I hate that film. They did to Barbossa, like, complete and total character assassination. I gotta do a review of that film, because, boy, I hate it. I hate it so much. Especially in light of this news, given the fact that they want to reboot it with women and then just take Johnny Depp out of it. Because that's what they wanted to do with Penelope Cruz's character in the second one, make it all about her. But in reality, without Johnny Depp, it just would have been just another vacuous Disney project. But yeah, okay, instead of just trying to do that, what, a decade ago, now they're just going to go full steam ahead on this. It's like, what are you guys doing, okay? You understand that you're going to be seeing diminishing returns on everything that's not Deadpool and Wolverine, which I still don't think. It might end up being the high watermark for Hollywood this year, but it still ain't gonna break $1 billion. Like, we're probably sitting in a year, unless Despicable Me 4 ends up pulling massive numbers, which is highly possible. That's the only one that's out there, because Kung Fu Panda 4, I think it did fine, but it didn't end up coming close to that. But those Despicable Me movies, they're popular with kids, which is what Disney used to be able to do. But I got a video coming out, I think, over the weekend, that families don't trust Disney anymore, and why should they? Why should they? But talking about Pirates of the Caribbean, producer, this is Jerry Bruckheimer, by the way, you know, the guy who used to just make banger after banger after banger. Like, when Hollywood needs him now more than ever, where's he been recently? Same with Michael Bay. Like, bring back Michael Bay movies. For as much of a meme as the dude ended up becoming, like, he made popcorn flicks, like good popcorn flicks. And even when he had a dud, it wasn't offensive. It wasn't trying to hate the audience. It wasn't trying to rewrite history. Just stupid films. But then he also had The Rock, he had Armageddon, Pain and Gain, first Transformers. Like, the guy was good. Still is. No, man, he doesn't have a message that he's trying to push. He just wants to make flashy films. Like Jerry Bruckheimer, he just wants to have, you know, flashy, big budget action films. But Disney's not interested in that stuff. Anyways, but yes, the producer would bring Johnny Depp back in a new reboot if it were up to me. Yeah, because he understands if there's no Johnny Depp, there's no Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, there's no two ways about that, man. Thinks Disney still really wants to make the Margot Robbie's Pirates movie. Oh yeah, of course, because Disney wants to make every one of their successful IPs specifically for girls, because Disney is a girls-based brand. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with having a girls-based brand. Obviously, the Barbie movie last year, it did gangbusters because it knew its audience and it knew how to pander to them. Overt feministic messaging that would just go ahead and reinforce bad female decisions. It did that. It made over $1 billion. Why do you think all of the marketing in today's day and age, even if it's not pointed in the right direction, every company, every business wants to get the female dollar, because 80%, you can go look up these numbers if you don't believe me, 80% of household purchases are made by women. Which demographic has the most disposable income? Single women. Why is everything being positioned towards women? Any surprise? So of course they want to take a franchise that everybody loves. Men, women, children, grandparents. They love Pirates of the Caribbean because Johnny Depp is a charismatic guy that appeals to everybody. But because studio executives are dumb, they think that appealing to women requires seeing women on the screen. They unironically believe in diversity, equity, and inclusion. They want representation on the screen when in reality, women like Pirates of the Caribbean. Men like Pirates of the Caribbean. Women liked Star Wars. Men liked Star Wars. Now you just have freaks that like Star Wars. Why? Because you thought you could make Star Wars a girl brand. Now you think that you can make Pirates of the Caribbean a girl brand. Guess what? Not gonna work. Ta-da. He already teased in March. Okay, we're talking about Jerry Bruckheimer. That the total reboot was going to be the first Pirates movie out of the gate in the future because it's easier to put together because you don't have to wait for certain actors. This reboot is now confirmed to have writers Jeff Nathanson attached. Bruckheimer announced the news in an interview with Entertainment Weekly. Nathanson, okay, I was going to look up his previous work, but okay, also wrote the screenplay for the last Pirates movie, 2017, Dead Men Tell No Tales. I still haven't got around to watch that. I have a copy of it. Like, I got the Blu-ray that's over there. I guess I got to get around to it, especially if I want to do, you know, like a compare and contrast with the fourth entry. That just came into my mind. Don't hold me to that, but that's an idea that I have floating around. Which was directed by Joachim Rønning and Espen Sandberg. Of course, Rønning and Nathanson, as well as Bruckheimer, have reunited on a new Disney biographical drama, Young Women and the Sea. Wow, isn't that going to be the byline of the new Pirates of the Caribbean movie? He's cracked it, Bruckheimer said, of Nathanson's script for the Pirates reboot. Ugh. Like, here's the thing, man. I heard that the fifth one was kind of a cash grab, and in actuality, haven't really heard much about it. Nobody references it at all, and that was kind of towards the end. The Depp is everywhere, and people are getting tired of Johnny Depp and him milking IPs, like when he was the Mad Hatter in Alice in Wonderland, when he continued to come back around with Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Like, the dude was everywhere. Pirates hadn't been good, like, in my opinion, since 2006, but here we are in 2017 putting out the fifth one. Okay, let's hear what Bruckheimer has to say about this reboot. He's got an amazing third act. Oh, great. Well, that says more than you really intended it to there, Jer. We got to clean up the first and second. Oh, God, but we'll get there. Okay, well, at least you guys are doing rewrites. Okay, like, good on you. That's better than most of the people that Disney hire, willingness to go back and look at their work and try to make something of it. But he wrote a great third act. Okay, big battle, big splashy battle, and then what? Okay, whatever. Bruckheimer again confirmed the plan is to reboot Pirates. It's not gonna work, which means the next movie it wouldn't follow up familiar characters from the franchise. We're just bringing back all of the people who were a part of the previous franchise to remake the new franchise, meaning that we just really want a Jasmine Sparrow. We're just trying to find a way to get it in there. That would seemingly rule out an appearance by Johnny Depp, whose a leading role as Jack Sparrow powered the first 5 Pirates movies to $4.5 billion at the global box office, which is why Disney wants to reboot the franchise, but also not being able to read the room every single time that they run it back with their franchises. The most obvious of that, well, if you couldn't just simply look at what you did with the MCU at the end of last year, okay, when you had Captain Marvel inexplicably make $1.1 billion, and what did the Marvels, Captain Marvel 2, the way that it was marketed in certain markets around the world, what did that make? $900 million less? That's hilarious. Just think about that. $206 million for the Marvels. 1.13, I think, for Captain Marvel. $900 million less. And you think now's a great time to just run back more franchises. Okay. Depp's future as a Jack Sparrow has remained a question mark as he remains largely absent from Hollywood. He's still making films though. He hasn't really had that many nice things to say about Hollywood though. Anyways, however, Bruckheimer personally wants him back. Well, yeah, of course, those guys, they're actually pretty good friends. Okay, like Jerry Bruckheimer, I think he was willing to testify on behalf of Johnny Depp during one of the trials that's out there. I'm pretty sure that's the case. Don't quote me on that. It's just something that I do believe that I heard. Anyways, it's a reboot, but if it were up to me, I would want him in it. Yeah, of course, man, because it's like Captain Jack Sparrow. When it comes to new 21st century characters, I don't think there's anyone more iconic. Like, I could be wrong. I could just be completely glossing over somebody. I don't think there's anybody more recognizable that just simply was a brand new idea at the turn of the millennium. Literally, some smooth brains out there might say, well, Homelander, but it's like, well, that was an adaptation from a comic book. Most of Hollywood's just been simply inundated with, you know, adaptations. Yeah, it's like Captain Jack Sparrow. It's like, he's a household name. I don't think that Disney has even come close to replicating that success with anything. Like, I'm sure Elsa from Frozen is probably bigger with certain kids, but overall, like, running the entire spectrum is like Captain Jack. Like, he's him, and you don't want him back for a new Pirates movie. You don't even have the stones. Like, I would have a little bit more respect for Disney if they just simply recast Captain Jack. Like, we're going to tell an origin story. Another thing that they would just go ahead and, you know, unabashedly do, because, hell, they're making a Mufasa prequel, for Christ's sakes. You don't think that the origin story, how Captain Jack originally got his hands on the Black Pearl, like, that's a fascinating story. That's one that you could tell, but let's not let Disney do it, and let's not do it in the near future at all. No. There's probably going to be a story about how actually the first captain of the Black Pearl was Sandy Shores and Monica Waterhawk. Whatever. I love him. He's a good friend. He's an amazing artist, and he has a unique look. Yeah, okay. He created Captain Jack. It's that was not on the page. That was him doing a little Pepe Le Pew. You can't say that. You can't. Pepe Le Pew's been canceled, which is so gay. And Keith Richards. Yeah, okay. Whenever I record, just a little Don lore for you. I got a Rolling Stones matted and signed big old picture because I surround myself with excellence in the Don Consuelo studios, with the exception of, you know, Daniel Craig's Bond. It's like, you know, guys that are at the height of their fields. Okay, down there you got Mike Tyson, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, Marlon Brando, Godfather. You guys have probably seen it if you watch a couple of the other videos, but I got an Arnold Schwarzenegger, Bing Iron, the first bodybuilding show that's right at the beginning of the documentary. He's on stage, you know, with his arms. Everybody's seen that picture. Everybody's seen that picture. I got another picture, the infamous Muhammad Ali standing over Sonny Liston, okay? And then, of course, the greatest rock and roll band of all time, the Rolling Stones, that I stare at all the time. That was the one redeeming thing about, you know, at World's End, is that Keith Richards did show up as Captain Jack Sparrow's father at the meeting of the captains. But anyways, a bit of a tangent. I love Pirates. It's great. This franchise rules. It's just what they're doing to it is an abomination. That is his interpretation of Jack Sparrow. Exactly. That's one thing. If you want to go back and watch his original testimony during the 2022 trial, he talked about the creation of Captain Jack Sparrow. It really had nothing at all whatsoever to do with the case, but, you know, the way that he told the story behind his creation of Captain Jack was very interesting. Anyways, Variety reported in summer of 2020 that Disney was in the early development on 2 Pirates movies, a reboot led by Margot Robbie. Ugh, God, like, if people are getting sick of Johnny Depp in 2017, okay, like, what's the star power of Margot Robbie theoretically in 2026? Like, if they're working on this right now, that would be about the earliest that Disney could put this stuff out. Like, who wants to see a post-wall Margot Robbie? Like, be interesting. At least if she's going to be a pirate, they could put her in a lot of makeup and, you know, just a bunch of dreads and stuff. Like, you could probably mask some stuff. And a 6th film with the original franchise writer Craig Mazin and Ted Elliott, the later of whom co-wrote the first 4 Pirates movies. Now, you get credit for the first 2. Some of the third. It's just, why did you have the Chinese pirate stuff? That made no sense. You just wanted to have a girl boss moment with Elizabeth. Ugh. Mazin told the Los Angeles Times last year the script for Pirates 6 is so weird he is surprised as he signed off on it. Yeah, but they got a really great third act, adding, "We pitched it and thought that there's no way they're buying it. It's too weird," and they did. Oh, great. And we wrote a fantastic script, and the strike happened, and everyone's waiting around. Whether or not Nathanson's reboot script is a new draft of Mazin's or entirely new screenplay remains to be seen. Margot Robbie told Vanity Fair in November of 2022 that Disney is not interested in her. More of a female-led movie, which is good news, but then I could only imagine that the reason that Disney Disney didn't want to sign off on Margot Robbie's Pirates movie is because they could find somebody more in the cast of Rachel Zegler, somebody who's far cheaper, far more moldable than an established star. That'd be about the only reason, because if you think that this Pirates reboot isn't going to be female-led, you haven't been paying attention to media lately, because it's two different movies. Bruckheimer said about the future, we hope to get them both made. I don't, and I think Disney agrees. They really want to make the Margot one too. Yep, and of all people who would have the inside track, the Bruckheimer would definitely be somebody in the inner circle. Each of the 5 Pirates films grossed more than $650 million worldwide. Dead Man's Chest, yes, broke $1 billion, and On Stranger Tides, the 4th one, both topping $1 billion. Yeah, I think at World's End, I think it got 8 or 950. I think it's 950. But yeah, that shit's trash. Not as much as On Stranger Tides. I hate that movie. I will continue to scream that from the rooftops. But if these end up getting made, man, it's at least not going to carry the title of worst Pirates movies. Oh God, I shudder to think how bad this is ultimately going to get. But talk about it all the time, you know. As good as things look like they are when it comes to turning around, it's only going to get worse from here. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.